TKO. It's the UFC that gets interim champions, not WWE. I'm Chris Wolvie, the wrestling blog, who always tells it like it is. I don't really watch Ultimate Fighting Championship. When it started in the early 1990s, I thought it was an interesting gimmick, kind of like Street Fighter in real life. But then it essentially turned into legalized ultra-violence. In clips I've seen, this so-called mixed martial arts is closer to bare-knuckle boxing than to kickboxing. So yeah, not a fan. Although they do have an interesting thing when their champions, through injury or illness or others, can't defend a title when scheduled. The challenger faces another top contender, and the winner is deemed interim champ. Then when the actual champ comes back, they can fight to reunite the titles. I gotta say that makes a world of sense. I mean, when you win a title and something happens to prevent you from defending it, they shouldn't have to give it up. Just let someone else play champ until they can come back and resolve things. And it works for those who are about to or were in line to challenge the champ. I mean, the interim champ defends it just like the real champ would. So yeah, I'd say that works with UFC. But as an over 40-year fan of pro wrestling, I don't see how it can work in the WWE. Oh, don't get me wrong, something like what the UFC does could make a lot of sense, but I've grown up believing that when a reigning champion, regardless of gender or level of title, can't defend said title within a certain time limit, they are automatically stripped of the title or asked to surrender it. Then something is set up to fill the vacancy. And then, when the former champ comes back, well, they should have dibs on getting the title back that they never lost. But I guess now that UFC and WWE are under one corporate roof, there would have to be some overlapping in rules, right? Maybe that's why we don't see the fight pit anymore. Leave the plexiglass encased fighting to the experts. So, Rhea Ripley's injury was worse than they thought. She is unable to defend her title at WWE of the WWE Women's Championship at SummerSlam. But Mommy is a major draw in the WWE, and perhaps they spoke with Paul Levesque about how unfair it is to give up titles due to injury. Levesque probably took it to the TKO higher-ups, and them Saudis and wannabe sultans said, "Hey, we do it in UFC. Can't you have interim champs in WWE?" And that probably got Levesque thinking back to the pandemic era, when the then Cruiserweight champ was stuck in the UK for the duration, but Shawn Michaels still thought a champ should be active. So instead of stripping the man now known as JD McDonough of the title, they held a tournament for an interim champ. Then once European citizens were allowed to travel back to the US, McDonough came back, kicked the ass of the interim champ, and regained his spot in the under 205-pound division. That closed not too soon after. Armed with that thought, and probably pressured by the bosses, Levesque said, why not? I'll tell you why not. Because despite the UFC being real and the WWE staged, both the fighters and wrestlers share the same risk of injury in every match. The one difference is that wrestlers are in far more matches than any UFC fighter. They sometimes have to fight 3 or 4 nights a week. And every single time they could conceivably get hurt, and I doubt UFC fighters beat the crap out of each other even once a month, except maybe in training. And the WWE fans want fighting champs. The reason they booed Roman Reigns so loudly during his 3-year reign was not because he played the heel or had bodyguards around him to keep the title safe. He was booed because he held the WWE Championship hostage. and then unified it with the Universal title and held it hostage until he only had one belt to carry around. UFC champs? I guess fans are fine with them only defending every number of months, just like they do in pro boxing. After all, they need the rest after such grueling title defenses, and if they get hurt, more time to rest before kicking the interim champ's keister. WWE fans don't give wrestlers that kind of luxury. They want champs to fight, hurt or not. I honestly don't see fans embracing the title interim WWE Women's Championship, despite it being decided by a ladder match at SummerSlam. Maybe they love Ripley, but I'm sure they could understand why, like so many before, she would have to relinquish the title. But despite how real the title may be, I'm sure those who will compete for realize that interim is just a polite way of saying placeholder. They may treat it like the actual title, but they just have to know that when Rhea Ripley returns, she's going to show who the real champ is. And as for me, I don't like it. However, since I have less than zero pull in the WWE, I will treat it like the actual title. I will only call the title interim when Ripley returns and takes on the current champ. And I will hope that this is the last time we ever hear the term in the WWE. I'm Chris Wolvie with the Wrestling Blog, who always tells it like it is. Pray for peace more than ever. And I'll see you